everyone, welcome to Spooky Mountain. Thank you so much for joining us for our newest episode. We've got Steph and you've got Jordi, and this is going to be a fucking banger of an episode.
This is going to be a really good episode. I'm so excited
me too.
to tell you my story.
I'm so excited to tell you my story. I've been so excited. Like, did I? Oh, no, I didn't give you my hint this week, did I? You gave me your hint.
I gave you my hint, which is
Cryptids, yeah. So you have no idea what mine is.
I have no clue.
So I don't really know what yours is either, apart from it being a cryptid.
It's it's something that we know, but a lot of people don't know about. So a lot of our listeners who are Australian will probably know what this cryptid is, which I think you might have a bit of an idea what I'm talking about. Maybe not.
I don't know. So wait, is it Australian? I'll just ask you this one question.
Yeah.
But don't tell me any more than this. Is it an Australian cryptid?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know too many Australian cryptids. I know like maybe two.
Yeah. It's one of those two.
I hope it's the one that I'm thinking of.
It most
Probably
definitely
is.
Well, look, I mean, we've done this game before. You're like, I think I know what it is, and then you're
and
like,
we both guessed wrong. Both of us were wrong on that episode.
Yes.
Well, how exciting! This might be our best episode yet.
What's your one?
I don't even know how to give you a hint on this. Okay, it's a phenomenon,
Okay.
I guess you could say. You have for sure 100% heard of this.
Oh, shit.
And I know this for a fact that you've heard of this. I don't know how much you know about it, though. I would say a lot because you're kind of creepy like that. So
Okay, thank you.
I'm just so excited to. This has probably been like my favorite story to.
Oh my god.
To research so far.
Okay. Yeah. This is probably I'll say one of my favorites because it was one of those ones where I was like laughing a lot. And calling Dylan over just going, oh my God, just read that for a second. And he was like, what the fuck is going on?
It's the Frogman all over again.
Yes, pretty much.
Or the Puckwudgies all over again.
Look, it's a fun one. It's a fun one.
Awesome. You've done a few really good, funny, fun ones so far. I've done a lot of really like dark and horrible ones.
That's good. We've got a good balance.
We do. We definitely have a good. It's funny. It's not. And when you do a funny one, I always enjoy it so much, and I think it's just fabulous. But when I think of doing a fun, more lighthearted one, I almost feel like I'm wasting a story. I almost feel like I have to take it to a really
and totally
place.
do it. Yeah. I think because we both have interest in certain things as well, where I'm like, I've got such deep interest with cryptids and UFO stories, and they're wild. They're just so weird that I'm like, I have to say it.
I'm so glad that you have that aspect of our stories covered.
So we're very different,
Well, aside from our stories, we have a couple of other things that we want to just quickly mention. So we have a Christmas episode coming up.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be just the tits. It's going to
be so fun.
It's going to be so fucking good. It's going to be video, but the video is for our patrons only.
Yes, it is oh my God, this is going to be very funny, this video. It's going to be great. Put a lot of effort into this one. So the audio will just be for everyone for free.
Yes.
That's fine. But...
Yeah. Anyone can listen to the episode, but it's only our patrons that will be able to watch us just act like dickheads telling Christmas stories.
Yeah. And also, I know there's a lot of people that have come over from Monster Fuzz, and Monster Fuzz podcasts are one of my favorite podcasts ever. Rob and Eamon are legends. They always recommend our podcasts. They're just amazing. I'm in the Discord, so and talk to Rob back and forth. So they're just legends. So they've managed to get a couple of listeners over here. So hey guys, thanks for coming over on the Aussie side.
Yeah, thanks to the new Monster Fuzz listeners. We appreciate your support and everyone else's support, of course.
Everyone's
as well.
support.
But extra shout out to the new Monster Fuzz listeners. And something else that we've already mentioned maybe like one or two times, but we'll just quickly mention it again, is that we have merch for sale, and I'm pretty sure there's actually a sale.
Oh, is there?
I'm pretty sure there's a sale on now, but by the time this episode comes out it may be done.
They tend to always have a sale though. Like it's as soon as the first sale ended, then there was like the Black Friday sale.
So chances are there's just always going to be different kinds of sales on. So we've got like clothing at the moment. We don't really have anything other than that, but we've got really fucking sick.
Yeah, we've got a good range of clothing. And it's not just we advertise it all in black clothing, but you can actually change the colours of all of the different clothing options that you'd want when you go onto the TeePublic site.
Onto the site. So it's all kind of customizable if that's what you're into. So that's kind of like our official business out of the way.
Yeah, got that all ticked off and out of the way.
Yes, there's something that I wanted to ask you though, Steph, and I'm sure that you are aware, you have seen this, but have you seen the video of an apparent UFO, a Chinese, in China, a UFO fleet in the sky?
It is fleet of terrifying.
UFOs. Yeah. Isn't it scary?
Yeah. I've been seeing it for the past probably 2 days. It's just been popping up. Yeah. But I didn't really pay attention because I've been really busy lately, so I haven't really had much time to look at it. But I properly watched the video today and I actually shared it on our Instagram. And then you later were like, oh my God, have you seen this? And I was like, yes. And then you put it on the Facebook page. It is crazy.
Because it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Because it's rows of 3 or 4 lights. There's I think it's 3 rows of 4 lights, but the lights look like they're
appearing and disappearing at the end of each line. Like, I don't know if you haven't seen it, it is everywhere, but I think it's a video of someone else in a plane.
I think the person recording is in a plane.
Like a passenger plane or something.
It looks like it, yep.
And they're filming from outside the window, so it's above the clouds. And, it's like these really bright lights in a line, but they just slowly just fade out and reappear.
The lights are definitely moving, they're not moving around, but they are flashing in and out. It does look like it's the end lights that are flashing in and out. And the plane is filming from just a little bit of a distance above the weird lights. And it's somewhere in China. I don't know exactly where in China, but it's pretty scary.
Sea or something. It is really scary. Seeing, because usually if you see them just like a standard light that's not fading out or anything, just moving, it's still weird enough. But when one fades out and one appears, and in the weirdest motion there's no, it's a very weird thing to watch. It made me feel weird.
Yeah, there isn't really anything to compare it to.
No.
Anything else that's in the sky that's comparable. I know there's some weird light things going on in the sky because we have satellites, there's like SpaceX,
always.
There's all like meteorites, whatever. There's all sorts of kind of weird shit happening in the sky. But
and this is in the day as well, isn't it?
It's in the day.
It's like it's right in the daytime.
It's so clear. The footage is so clear as well.
I would freak the fuck out if I was in a plane. Like usually when I go in planes, I am that person that's stuck to the window going, fuck, imagine if I saw a UFO.
Yeah,
but then I would end up losing my shit and being the person that has to be like constrained because I'd just be like, there's something on the wing.
Yeah. You know what? I don't have many fears in life, but my ultimate 100% biggest fear that I have is flying.
Oh, really?
I fucking hate flying. The second I step onto a plane, even though 100% of the time I'm fully medicated because I just have
Really?
to be able to even step on a plane. I am bawling my eyes out. I'm just losing my shit. I hate flying. I have to get drunk. I have to take medication.
Fuck, that's
it's
crazy.
Awful. It's awful. It's so bad.
It's
so most of the
weird,
time I don't have the thoughts to look out the window,
enough.
but I still do a little bit, but I wish I could fully focus on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Like my 100% the worst fear I ever have is heights. I literally.
Oh, is it?
But planes, for some reason,
it's
are
different.
fine because it just feels too surreal. It doesn't feel like when we're taking off the runway and I can still see houses. I'm like, I fucking hate this. I fucking hate this.
Right.
I hate this. I hate this. But then when we're too high up, I'm like, it doesn't even feel real anymore.
You're kind of just above the clouds and it almost feels like a little shitty motel room or something that you're in when you're in the plane.
Deal with it. But yeah, with heights, I'm pathetic. I can't climb a tree. You can't
climb a tree?
No, I can't climb a ladder.
No way.
It's just so, I am so embarrassing when it comes to heights. I won't get on anyone's shoulders.
Are you shitting me? That's like
serious.
A proper fear of heights.
Even if I watch, if someone's like, oh, look at this video on my phone and it's someone that's high up, my whole legs go completely,
I get that.
seize up. Yeah,
I get that.
Even just talking about it, I feel weird.
You feel giddy?
But planes, fine.
You know what? I've gotten into a habit of sometimes so I have this brand new laptop, right? I got my new laptop a few months ago now and I just always want to be on my laptop because I love it so much. I'll sit down and I'm like, what do I do?
Technology is so exciting.
Oh my God. It's the first new piece of technology that I've bought in a very long time. It's a beautiful new MacBook. And so sometimes I'll sit down at my laptop and I'll be all like, okay, what do I want to do? And I can't think of anything. So what I fucking do is I get on YouTube and I watch worst plane crashes ever.
What is wrong with
I don't
you?
know why I do this to myself. It's it's so addictive to watch, but I know it's so bad for me. I can't help myself. It's like self-sabotage.
Yeah, I've never typed that in. Oh my God.
It's horrifying because some of them are passenger planes. Not a lot of them, but some of them are passenger planes. And you can just see them going up and then back down. And that is kind of the crux of my fear in a plane.
Or the
is
ones
that
where they're
feeling
trying to land in bad wind and the plane's wobbling around on the tarmac.
You know
Stuff
what?
like that.
That fucking happened to me. I had a fear of flying before this experience, but I was visiting my brother in Townsville. So we flew in, me, my mum, and Dad. We flew into Townsville, visited my brother and my sister-in-law, and caught a plane back home. I was already shitting myself, but it was the worst weather that this plane should not have been in the sky. I thought we were going to die. My whole family thought we were going to die. There was pretty much everyone on the plane was crying. Yes, some of the stewardess people, they were bracing themselves and the plane was
because a plane for Townsville would be tiny as well, wouldn't it?
It wasn't a massive plane, but it was
passenger plane.
It was a regular kind of passenger plane. It was. Right. I've been on one of those very small passenger planes as well, and that's awful. Ugh. But this, honestly, I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if we were upside down. The plane was just because I've been on a plane with really bad turbulence, but this was unlike anything else ever.
Yeah.
It was horrific, and it felt like at one point the plane was going to tip upside down, and it was awful.
So everyone would have been screaming and shit?
Yes, people were crying. I was crying. My family was crying. Well, not my whole family was crying, but, my mom.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
How long did it go for?
Pretty much from about halfway through the flight. So the flight wasn't that long. It's maybe a 2-3 hour flight.
Right.
So for about, hour and a half maybe, it started to it was really windy And so the plane started to rock a bit, and then it felt like it was out of control, and the pilot was trying to correct it. That's how it felt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It was horrific. I haven't been on a plane since.
Oh, right. Okay.
I haven't been on a plane since. I don't know if I could.
That's really bad. Yeah, that's bad. Last time I got on a plane was coming back from Perth a couple of years ago, and we had bad turbulence, but not to that extent. But Dylan was holding my hand very tight. Yes. Very fucking tight, and I just had my eyes closed. I was completely still, and every now and again, people were like, like doing that. And I'm like, stop.
It's so much scarier when the people around you are also freaking out, because
that was the worst.
Well, you know what? Let's get into some.
I think we need to get into it.
Let's get into some other scary shit so we can not focus on our true fears.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, So this is definitely going to be a fun story, because I remember last week we did like.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, we have to do fun ones.
Apologies to everyone. My story isn't that fun. Steph is doing the fun shit.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was wild. Okay, so this is a classic Australian cryptid, the Bunyip.
Yes. Oh, I'm happy. Very good.
Yeah. So
I don't actually know too much about the Bunyip either.
That's right.
This is great.
Yeah, so pretty much I feel like every Australian would know or have heard of the Bunyip. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, the Bunyip. We know what the Bunyip is. But they don't really know too much about it. Like myself, I didn't really know much about anything until I really started getting into cryptids, and I was like, what the fuck? I don't even know anything about the Bunyip. So for anyone that's not in Australia, you're probably like, what the actual fuck are you talking about? This is an Australian cryptid, and I think the Yowie, Bunyip, they're at like the same level of cryptidness here.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's this really creepy creature. It's said to lurk the southeastern area of Australia, which is actually where Jordi and I are located. So
that's exactly where we are.
Yeah. So in that whole area, so pretty much from like New South Wales down to Tasmania is Bunyip territory.
Cool.
And they live near fresh water, as they're amphibious. So we're talking waterholes, riverbeds, creeks, swamps, and billabongs. Now, what do they actually look like? So just so you get a picture in your head, it is quite tricky to explain what a bunyip looks like, because most descriptions are different. There's about 9 different variations of the bunyip.
Wow.
Yeah. So to put it this way, 60% of the sightings say that it looks like a seal or a swimming dog.
Oh.
20% say it has a super long neck with a small head.
I'm going to go with that 20% and say that they're probably correct.
And the remaining descriptions are all just completely different. It's just insane. So in 1847, George French Angus collected a description about the bunyip from the Murundi people who live near the Murray River. So they call it a water spirit. There is also an account from his book where he says it's, quote, much dreaded by them. It inhabits the Murray, but they have some difficult describing it. Its most usual form, it's said to be that of an enormous starfish.
Oh,
so he's just, he's referring to the Aboriginal people when he's saying, they and it. But, so of an enormous starfish, which is completely different. Again, it's like, hang on.
Yeah, how do you go from like dog seal to long neck to starfish?
I know, it's so funny. So if we go back to the seal dog version, it's usually described as being 4 to 6 feet long with a shaggy dark brown coat and has a round head like a bulldog. It's got prominent ears, no tail, and has whiskers like a seal or an otter.
It sounds kind of cute.
I know.
Like I want to cuddle it.
I know. That one sounds really fucking cute.
Yeah.
The version with the long neck, this is even weirder. This one can get from 5 feet to 15 feet long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, has the same type of fur as the other one, but it has large ears, small tusks, a head like a horse or emu. The neck is 3 feet long with heaps of folds of skin in the neck. It has a mane, and to top it all off, it has a horse-like tail.
Oh, so it's just everything put together.
It's
pretty
literally
much.
everything.
You know what it reminds me of? Sorry, just really quickly. Have you seen the movie Tusk?
No, but that was recommended to us to watch.
Oh, after our watching
I have not
party.
watched it, and I've heard it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, but it's fucking hilarious.
Okay, all right. I feel like if we can try and watch that, because
We should watch
I've
it,
been asked to watch it. So
especially especially now after this
I know,
story.
now we've recommended it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is just by far the most insane thing ever. It sounds like if you asked a kid to draw a creature of whatever. And have you played Spore, the game? Do you remember the game Spore, like back in the day?
Yes. Is that the one with like the
You make your own.
worms?
I think you start off, you make your own like alien creature, and then you have to try and get them to like breed, and you can make them like all different types of.
I think I did play this.
Yeah, me and my sisters played it, but we had like a free CD that came with like a box of cereal, and that's how we got it. So it was like not even the like actual game. It was
just like
it's like the beta
sample,
version.
Yeah.
So we didn't even get to play the proper game, but we would just make the characters. And
I
that's
miss the
what
90s.
this reminds me of, like some weird Spore character.
Yeah. Just kind of like an amalgamation of creatures put together.
Literally every type of animal combined. And yeah, so the bunyip does frequent a lot of areas of the southeastern side of Australia. So many Aboriginal people do talk about this creature in their Dreamtime stories. Although it may look different, they can all agree that it is amphibious, nocturnal, and inhabits the waters. So that's always fact about the bunyip. It's also a really fast swimmer. They say that it has fins or flippers. and so to get to know this thing a little bit better as well, what does it eat? What does it like to eat? Well, it likes to eat crayfish and humans.
Oh, those are the two things that it likes to eat. It's just crayfish and humans.
Humans, particularly women and children.
Oh, okay.
If children get too close to the water, they could be snapped up by the bunyip. Or if anyone is out doing a lot of fishing as well, the bunyip will notice you and notice that you take too much fish than you need, and they'll actually eat you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
maybe human meat tastes like crayfish as well. So that's
maybe
why the two.
That's a good point. I'll have to try some.
You never know.
And bunyips, they lay eggs, and apparently they lay them in platypus nests, which are along the water's edge. So you can imagine, I guess, if children got too close to the water or the eggs, that's probably why they get eaten, I assume. But hopefully, before you do get eaten, you might have the chance to run away, as you've heard the bunyip let out a huge roar.
Oh my God. I didn't realize the bunyip was so fucked up. I thought it was just kind of like a creature that was around. I didn't realize that it snatched kids and
Me neither.
it roared and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really expect it to make a noise.
No.
And if I did, it wouldn't be roaring.
A roar? No, not at all.
I don't know what that means. So to the, I hope I'm saying this right, to the Narrandjeri people, this story is told to the children and people who do not respect the land. So they know the bunyip as the Mulyawonk, or Mulyawonk, they pronounce it, Mulyawonk. And the story goes like this. A man who lived a very long time ago was out fishing and became very greedy and started to catch way more fish than he needed. The elders were really unhappy with this selfish man as he didn't respect the Ngarrindjeri laws of fishing. So they became so angry with this man that they actually punished him by turning him into the Mulyawonk, the half-man, half-fish creature, and banished him to the river forever. The Ngarrindjeri children are told to never swim alone or to get greedy while fishing, otherwise the Mulyawonk will get you. One of the homes of the Mulyawonk is in a river cave under the Murray Bridge, so they've actually got this really creepy animatronic thing there of a bunyip. And if you press a button, it comes out of the depth of the cage and screams at people.
Really?
So I'm going to add that'll be one of the show pictures because it is so weird.
That's such a strange, that's a fun decision, but it's a very strange decision to make.
Yeah, it's like just in this weird cave, but it's big.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone would.
No. I know, it's terrifying. I love it, but it's scary at the same time.
It's scary, yeah.
Okay, now just a heads up for some people as well. So the following, there's a lot of quotes from stories, super old articles and stuff. So they refer to Aboriginal people as blacks.
Yeah,
that's how they say it. So
this isn't Steph's.
They're not my words.
Yeah. We get it.
Yeah, cool. So the word bunyip is usually actually translated by the Aboriginal people as devil or evil spirit, which is already oh shit, okay, this thing can't be good.
Yeah, okay.
However, the word bunyip is probably the most common name to describe the creature. So pretty much everyone in different countries, they've all got their different way of describing what the bunyip is, but pretty much now it's the most modern word that everyone's used to. And the word bunyip was traced back to the Wemba Wemba or the Werrigaya language of the Aboriginal people in Victoria. And the thing, I guess, that I love about Australia is we have so many different animals. We've got so many animals that just don't exist anywhere else. It's just crazy. And people always refer to how scary our animals are or how weird they are. And I've got to admit, it would be very funny being a European and coming over to Australia for the first time and seeing what the fuck is over here.
Even just a kangaroo, seeing a kangaroo for the first time.
They'd be like, what is going on?
What the fuck, yeah.
So when the Europeans actually came here, the Aboriginals were always telling them that the bunyip is a legitimate animal. This is a legitimate thing. So they didn't bat an eye. They're like, okay, of course.
Right.
They thought, yeah, it is probably true because they've seen wombats, kangaroos, platypuses, and they're like, yeah, chuck that one on the list as well.
Everything's already weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So they believed it for ages. Because, they'll hear really loud noises out in the wilderness and they just always assumed it was the bunyip. Because, if anyone's heard what a koala sounds like,
holy shit, they're terrifying.
It is.
Or even a possum.
Even a possum.
Your roof.
We've got big possums in Australia and we got big koalas and it sounds like we don't have bears or wolves or anything like that, but fucking hell. If anyone, just type in koala mating call into Google and you will... Yeah, it's terrifying.
Pretty demonic.
But, yeah, it's demonic. That's a good word. But they were always like, oh, that's the bunyip. That's the bunyip. There was actually a really large amount of bunyip accounts in the 1800s as well. There were large bones uncovered in Lake Bathurst, New South Wales in 1818. They didn't actually call it a bunyip, but it did resemble a hippo or a manatee. But we don't actually know what the bones are at this moment. And I couldn't find anything more about that, but that's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, that's very strange.
In 1830, more large bones were found in the Wellington Caves in New South Wales. So these are fossilised bones around 4 times larger than an ox or buffalo. Later on, though, British anatomist Sir Richard Owen ended up identifying them as a gigantic marsupial, Nototherium, and Diprotodon. Diprotodon? I don't know. Diprotodon. And later wrote, quote, all natives throughout these districts have a tradition of a very large animal having at one time existed in the large creeks and rivers, and by many it was said that such animals now exist. So that would be crazy because, yeah, we had like super large marsupials and stuff.
We had like giant marsupials,
Huge
didn't we?
ones. Yeah. So they think,
Yeah.
could be one of those. And the first time that the word bunyip was written was in a newspaper called the Geelong Advertiser, as they had discovered fossils in 1845. It was for an article headlined "Wonderful Discovery of a New Animal." And in the article they wrote, quote, on the bone being shown to an intelligent black, he at once recognised it as belonging to the bunyip, which he declared he had seen. On being requested to make a drawing of it, he did so without hesitation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's so confident, like, yep.
I know exactly what this is, and this is what it looks like.
Give me the fucking pen and paper.
Yeah.
And the article continued to talk about an Aboriginal woman that was actually killed by a bunyip, and also of a man named Mumbo Run who was attacked by one, and he had these heaps deep scars on his chest to like prove it as well. He was like, "This is from a bunyip."
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and like, if you're getting attacked by something like that, you're not gonna just make up some creature because you're pissed at this thing for like attacking
That's
you.
it.
So you're like, it was a fucking bunyip. It was a bunyip. I know what it was.
Yeah, and like there's not many things that would really attack you except for like if you had like big claws. Like the only thing I can think of is a kangaroo, but they like don't even come up to people.
No. If anything, they'll
run away. So I
from
don't
you.
even know what else in Australia would fuck you up like that.
I mean, like, I know wild pigs
In the
are pretty
1800s.
hectic, but this is the thing, is like many of the animals that would get you these days, they're introduced animals.
Exactly, yes.
And
This
so
is in the
back
1800s,
then,
so
they
they probably
wouldn't. No,
Yeah.
not at all. Not like wild pigs, wild dogs. They're all like introduced animals. They wouldn't even be in the country back then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so who fucking knows?
Wild.
Further down the article is a description of the creature. So, quote, the bunyip, then, is represented as uniting the characteristics of a bird and of an alligator. It has a head resembling an emu, emu, with a long bill. And I was reading this in like the poshest accent.
Steph, can you do it?
It was so funny. Okay, all right. Because
I love Steph accents.
It's so funny. Okay. It has a head resembling an emu with a long bill, at the extremity of which is a transverse projection on each side, with serrated edges like the bone of the stingray. Its body and legs partake of the nature of the alligator. The hind legs are remarkably thick and strong, and the forelegs are much longer, but still of great strength. The extremities are furnished with long claws, but the blacks say its usual method of killing its prey is by hugging it to death. When in the water, it swims like a frog, and when on the shore, it walks on its hind legs with its head erect, in which position it measures 12 or 13 feet in height.
Oh, wow.
There we go. That's
Sir
my
David
posh accent.
Attenborough, everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know. I mean, it's just the way it's talking. I was like,
Yes.
this is so fucking posh.
Oh, that was fantastic.
But like hugging it to death?
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Would that mean like squeezing it to death, maybe?
Yeah.
Constricting
I
it,
guess
perhaps?
so. And then swims like a frog?
Yeah, that is
so
just
weird.
so strange.
It's just so, I swear you like just start to understand one description and then it's like a whole other thing.
It changes.
Again, it's a whole completely other description of what it is.
Yeah.
There was also another early account written by William Buckley, who was who was an escaped convict in 1852, and he wrote a biography because he lived with the Wathaurong people for 30 years when he escaped. And he states in his book, in Lake Mudawari, as well as in most of the other others inland, a very extraordinary amphibious animal, which the native call bunyip. I could never see any part except for the back, which appeared to be covered with feathers of a dusky grey colour. It seemed to be about the size of a full-grown calf. I could never learn from any of the natives that they had seen either the head or tail. So
Yeah.
in 30 years, he's very aware of it. And he also mentioned about the woman who got killed by the bunyip, as before he was like, they would always talk about that story.
Oh, right.
And he emphasised as well in the book that they believe that the bunyip has supernatural powers to top it all off. Great. As if that fucking thing needs to have supernatural powers. That's so scary. And Edwin Stockweller, so he was an artist during the mid-1800s, and a newspaper had made an article about his travels along the Murray and Goulburn rivers, and he drew pictures of the scenery. He was just like in a little boat and just painting pictures. And they wrote in the article, amongst the latter drawings, we noticed a likeliness of the bunyip, or rather a view of the neck and shoulders of the animal. Mr. Stockweller informs us that the bunyip is a large freshwater seal having two small padules or fins attached to the shoulders, a long swan-like neck, a head like a dog, and a curious bag hanging under the jaw, resembling the pouch of the pelican.
What the fuck is this creature? It's just... It's like everything you could imagine.
Literally, yeah, I was like, bag on the chest, that's a pelican. And then
That's a pelican.
literally the next word, oh, they know what a pelican is. I'm like, fuck.
What the fuck? How can...
I don't know anything else that has like a big freaky ass thing under its neck. Like
I mean,
pelican.
some turkeys have like a gobbler,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
not like a bag.
Yeah, big freaky turkey.
Yeah.
It continues. So the animal is covered with hair like the platypus, and the colour is a glossy black. Mr. Stockweller saw no less than 6 of these curious animals at different times. His boat was within 30 feet of one near Maguire's punt on the Goulburn, and he fired at the bunyip, but did not succeed in capturing him. The smallest appeared to be about 5 feet in length, and the largest exceeded 15 feet.
Fucking hell.
The head of the largest was the size of a bollock's head
Jesus.
and 3 feet out of the water. After taking a sketch of the animal, Mr. Stockweller showed it to several blacks of the Goulburn tribe who declared that the picture was Bunyip's brother, meaning a duplicate or likeliness of the bunyip. The animals moved against the current at the rate of about 7 miles an hour, and Mr. Stockweller states that he could have approached close to the specimens he observed had he not been dated by the stories of the natives concerning the power and fury of the bunyip, and by the fact that his gun had only a single barrel and his boat was of a very frail description.
Yeah, stay away, buddy. Stay away.
They scared him so much.
Even with a gun as well. They sound terrifying. They sound big and powerful and dangerous.
So dangerous, yeah. Oh, my God. One of my other favourite newspaper descriptions of the creature is, quote, "It puts us in mind of an hybrid between the water mole and the great sea serpent." That just made me laugh heaps. I had to put that in because I was like, what the fuck? The amount of descriptions I saw, I was like, I really got to try and like...
Yeah, just another fun description.
There's so many.
But funnily enough, with that last one, I can like kind of imagine exactly what they're talking about with that particular one.
Yeah. When you can do like... Yeah, when they start to throw in too many things, it's like, okay, just stop for a second. I'm just trying to get my head around, you know,
the giant
having large
starfish
ears and a dog head. Yes, giant starfish with big ears, you know. What? Oh, my God. And, yeah, now, of course, there are people who have tried to logically explain what they think the bunyip is. So Charles Fenner in 1933 wrote that he thinks the bunyips are actually seals that made their way up the rivers. He provided examples of seals that had made their way inland, but it's super rare. Like, it's really not that common. Plus, seals don't eat people, so
No.
I don't really...
No. And they're not that big either.
They don't have ears or really long legs.
No, I mean, that's what it kind of sounds like it looks like to some degree. It sounds like it has seal-like quality to it.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's a mess. One of the other suggestions is that it's an extinct marsupial, and the Aboriginals have a cultural memory of these creatures when they existed. So, for example, it could have been the Diprotodon, the Zygomaturus, the Nototherium, or the Palochestes. Palochestes, that one is funny to me. In 2017, there was also an article written by Carl Brandt who suggested that the bunyip was inspired by the cassowary, which is the largest bird we have here. It's actually technically a dinosaur. Have you seen one before?
A cassowary? Yeah, not in
not in the wild. I don't think there are wild cassowaries, are there?
I think so, because a friend of mine on Facebook the other day posted a video of a cassowary where she's staying.
Oh my God.
They're fucking huge. They're so big. They fully look like dinosaurs.
They are fully dinosaurs. Yeah, I saw one when I went to the reptile park a few years ago. And yeah, I was a few meters away from it. It's fucking scary.
Yeah.
It was in its own pen. It was just like in this like miniature rainforest, and it was just being a psycho in there.
Really? Was it doing
really
psycho
scary?
stuff? Was it?
Yeah, it was just like running around. And
Yeah.
I was like, is there another one in there? Like, are they playing like catch? And there was like no otother cassowary. And I was like,
It's
okay,
just running around.
Yeah, it was really fucking scary.
It probably had to be like isolated away from all other animals, because it's probably really mean or something.
Yeah, it's super mean. So yeah, they think that well, they made the connection to this because the first description of the bunyip in 1845 was the creature lays large, huge, blue, pale eggs, has deadly claws, powerful hind legs, brightly covered chest, and an emu-like head. So I guess that does sound pretty much like a cassowary, but that could be one that they mistook once. And then...
Yeah, I feel like even if you see a really weird bird like a cassowary, because it looks very strange, you're not going to mistake it for something that has like a bollock's head or like, I mean, the size of that and all the other descriptions that there have been. That's it. I know. There's so many. It's so weird. But like, yeah, that's it. It literally does not make any sense. It's like, okay, but this other one said that it has like a dog's head or like a horse head. So, but the bunyip sounds absolutely fucking terrifying. But yeah, it's still something that Australians are very familiar with. So I'm glad that I felt like I had to tell everyone what the bunyip is. If your friends ever mention the word bunyip, just let them know. Give them one sort of weird description. There's so many of them. Like, I've literally just touched on them. You could literally, if someone asks you what a bunyip is, you could just literally choose any 5 animals in the world. You could choose 5 animals. Put them together and be like, this is what a bunyip is. I think I need to draw it. Like, when I was, the one where it had the rolls in the neck. Yeah. Like the really long neck with the rolls. I was like, I have to draw this. And I think I might actually draw a picture. Oh, that would be so great. Would be so funny. But yeah, I hope to fucking God I never see a bunyip because that sounds terrifying. Yeah, it sounds terrifying. You know, I actually, when I was trying to decide what story to do this week, bunyip was one of the things that was like a chance that I was going to do. And when I was thinking about it, I looked up drawings of bunyips, and one of the drawings I saw was like this horrible creature kind of like pulling itself out of the water, but it was like on the ground, almost like a worm trying to pull itself out of the water.
I saw that one as well.
Very creepy. So I never realized, that the bunyip was so mean. I thought it was like almost like a bear creature, kind of. Almost a yowie, almost a bear, but it lived in swamps.
So it's weird. I mean, I feel like this is probably only something that Australians will understand, but you know, growing up, you see a lot of like Aboriginal artworks and stuff. And for me, I always thought the bunyip, and I don't actually know what, I mean, maybe it is an artwork of the bunyip, but it was like a cave painting, but it's like a humanoid form, but it has really big elephant ears. Oh. And it's got arms and legs out, and then the ends of its fingers are like frog's fingers.
Oh, I've never seen something like that before.
It everywhere, like since I was a kid, and I always thought that's the bunyip. Right. That's the bunyip. It had the big ears, but it looked like a human and had frog fingers. And I still don't know what the fuck it is, and that maybe it is.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be what it was. I just saw it in like books and stuff, and I was like, that sounds fucking scary. But,
wow, the bunyip. We'll definitely have to avoid that one.
We're going to have to avoid that one, and I'm going to have to draw that one. Maybe we'll have a bunyip merch sale. You know,
maybe we could like both do our interpretations of a bunyip and then...
Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
And then choose a winner of some kind and send it to them.
Yeah. That would be so funny. Yeah, that was fun for me.
Very fun. Well, that was fun to listen to. All right. So, we've got a story that I'm very excited about. I've been wanting to do this for ages.
Oh my God. Okay.
But it's been really hard to find good information on it. So I kind of just spent the week really kind of focusing on like one story in particular, but it's more of just like a broad overview. So for my story this week, I'm going to cover just kind of like a general spectrum of this phenomenon that's found to occur all over the world, even Australia. I guess I'm just going to come out straight out and say it. My story this week, I'm going to be covering the mystery of cattle mutilation.
Oh, ooh. I like it.
It's a complex one. Yeah. But it's very, very interesting.
Okay, this wasn't on my list.
Oh, well, as I said, I've been wanting to do it for a while, but it's very hard to kind of like encapsulate all that is cattle mutilation, but I've tried my hardest.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, hopefully I can tell you some things that you don't already kind of know about it. So if you're not sure what cattle mutilation is, it's not Steph, but everyone else who's listening, if you don't know what this is, it's basically just what the title describes, basically. But to break it down a bit more, cattle mutilation, which is also sometimes known as bovine excision or unexplained livestock death, it's pretty much just the killing and mutilation of cattle or a certain animal under unusual and usually very bloodless circumstances. So worldwide, you have sheep, horses, goats, pigs, rabbits, cats, dogs, deer, elk. All of these animals have been reported, to have been mutilated. And it's all with similar bloodless and just absolutely impossibly exact excisions.
Yeah.
And the parts of the body that are usually excised, it's often an ear, an eyeball, jaw flesh, so like a jowl, tongue, lymph nodes.
What the fuck?
Which is a very interesting one I found to think about the lymph nodes, because that's kind of like the immune system and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also the genitals and the rectum have been found to be removed without a single drop of blood spilt at all to be present.
Yeah.
And sometimes that animal is found to have absolutely zero blood left in the body at all, with still no signs of blood spillage anywhere near the carcass. So there's like not a single drop of blood anywhere.
It is insane to me how that makes sense. Like,
I know,
it's crazy.
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It just gets so strange.
Ugh.
So, since the first reports of animal mutilations, various explanations have been offered, ranging from natural decomposition and just regular old like animal predation, as well as like cults and secretive government and military agencies doing experiments, and the range of speculation even extends out to like cryptid predators, and of course there's aliens as well. That always kind of fits into the know possible explanation. In most cases, mutilation wounds on the animals appear to be clean and carried out surgically to a point of just impossible precision. Mutilated animals are sometimes reported to have been drained of blood and show no sign of any other blood in the immediate area or around their wounds. So even though they have no blood left, there's no spillage anywhere, which just doesn't make sense.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, yuck. It is found to be reported that nearly 90% of mutilated cattle and mutilated, generally the animals that are found mutilated, are between 4 and 5 years old as well, which is very strange. I find that to be a bit suspicious.
Okay. So that might be like their fertile years, I guess, maybe?
Exactly,
like
fertile years, or just not in a stage of aging or something like that. In some cases, strange marks or imprints near the killing site have been found.
Oh.
So in the famous, it's called the Snippy Case, which is one of the most publicized animal mutilation cases, where this is in America, I'm pretty sure, it was a 3-year-old horse who was found with her head and her neck completely skinned and defleshed.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there was a total absence of tracks in a 30-meter radius of the carcass, and even the horse's own tracks disappeared within this like 30-meter radius of the body. Yeah. But within this 30-meter radius, several small holes were found seemingly punched into the ground, and 2 bushes were absolutely flattened.
Right.
So even aside from the actual mutilation, there are some pretty bizarre characteristics of the sites where the bodies are found.
Yeah.
There have been tissue samples taken from some of the mutilated bodies and sent off to have a laboratory testing done to see if there is anything out of the ordinary found in these samples. Many of these samples have shown unusually high or unusually low levels of vitamins or minerals in these tissue samples. And the presence of chemicals not normally found in animals have also been seen in these samples.
Yeah.
One of the most bizarre samples tested was one case that was documented by police and the FBI in New Mexico.
What?
An 11-month-old bull was found mutilated, and it displayed the classic mutilation signs, including the removal of the rectum and the sex organs with what appeared to be a sharp and precise instrument, and its internal organs were found to be inconsistent with a normal case of death followed by predation. So it was clear that it wasn't a predatory that had killed this animal.
Yeah.
The animal's heart, as well as bone, muscle, and liver samples were sent to a lab for microscopic and bacteriological studies.
Okay.
Samples from the animal's liver were found to be completely devoid of copper, and to contain 4 times the normal level of zinc, potassium, and phosphorus.
Okay.
So in terms of the liver, this is very strange because bovine liver is known to have huge amounts of copper.
Oh,
and there was
right.
none found in this liver.
What? I don't even know what that means.
I
Like,
know.
that is
And
just
how?
so strange. How
does
you
this
could
happen?
remove every trace of copper from a liver.
I know. And it could, like, you could say, well, this is how it died, but it had been, like, surgically operated on also. So it's like, that's
There's
bizarre.
way too much happening to that. Yeah.
Yeah, weird details. So the scientists performing the analysis on these samples were unable to explain these anomalies. Blood samples taken at the scene were reported to be light pink in colour and apparently did not clot even after several days.
Okay, that's
Yes,
weird.
very strange. Meanwhile, the animal's hide was found to be unusually brittle for a fresh death, with the animal being estimated to have been dead for about 5 hours. So it wasn't dead for that long. The hide was getting brittle.
Yeah, 5 hours is nothing.
Not long. The flesh underneath the hide was found to be discoloured, and both the liver and the heart were actually white and mushy. Both these organs that had samples sent off for testing had the texture and consistency of peanut butter, as it was described by one investigator who attended the scene.
Oh my God.
So, never going to look at peanut butter ever the same.
way.
So, these organs were just mushy and peanut butterish. It's pretty disgusting.
I just bought some new peanut butter.
Oh,
I haven't
no.
used it yet.
Chuck it out. No good.
Just put it out. Oh my God.
So, as I already mentioned, we have had reports of cattle mutilations here in Australia too. The most well-known case in Australia is probably the mutilation reports given by Mick and Judy Cook, who live up in Mackay in Queensland. The married couple are 2 very just fair dinkum people who run a cattle station in the very rural area of Mackay. The Cooks and their cattle station sit on 14,000 hectares of land
Whoa, that's big.
up in North Queensland. So they're on a really big
That's
property.
massive. Yeah.
which is pretty standard for cattle stations.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but still massive either way. Yeah, and so like up in North Queensland in Mackay, it's a pretty hard part of the country to be on anyway. And this part of Mackay is like very rural, very isolated.
Okay. Is it like more inland or?
I'm pretty sure it's along the coastline, but not exactly on the
okay.
coastline. I would say like...
Yeah, some pretty big gaps between like towns and stuff in
Yeah,
Queensland.
yeah. Oh, for sure, especially up in that area of Queensland. So both the Cooks are very hard workers, both very much kind of like no shit kind of people. They both have pretty much spent all their lives living and working in this kind of environment. So born and bred up in this area.
Yeah.
And I think in a way this can create really tough kind of people. So, you know, the real
Yeah,
no
for
shit
sure.
kind of person.
Yeah.
You know,
We all know them.
we all know them. Yeah. So it was about 2011 that weird things started to happen at the Cook's cattle station up in Mackay. Mick started to find dead cattle on the property with very distressing and inexplicable injuries. The very first of these mutilations that he found was a young cow laying dead with her udder, ears and tongue surgically and cleanly excised.
Whoa.
We didn't take it very seriously. We didn't know much about it, so I basically just gave it a miss, Mick said. He admits that until recently, he didn't give too much thought to a succession of strange cattle deaths over the following years, because in this rugged country northwest of Mackay, this country area of Mackay, it is not unusual to occasionally lose animals to predators or drought, etc. It's a very hard area to live in.
Yeah.
As I said, this part of the country is very harsh, and the cooks at this time were self-professed skeptics when it came to this kind of thing. So they didn't really think too much of it at this time. But then about 2 years ago or so, it was when he found another dead cow that things started to just feel a bit suspicious for Mick and Judy.
Yeah.
He found the cow's body, and at first he kind of just passed it off again as another death from his cattle. But as he drove past her, he realised that her udder had also been surgically removed.
Oh, my God.
There was not a drop of blood, despite the whole udder being precisely removed. It was like it had just lifted off, essentially.
Ew,
Yeah.
so gross.
It's so gross, but also not gross because it's like...
Yeah, there's no gore or blood
not
or
very
anything, but
gory.
it's like, yeah, I don't even know, like, having to look at that in person would be so
It's strange. There's
to
lots of
look at.
photos. There's lots of photos that you can, especially of the udder, because it almost just looks like
Yeah,
the
that's
cow's...
what-
it almost looks like it's just got a balloon coming out of its belly because the udder has been removed. So
Yeah,
it's very strange. It's really strange, but it's not that gory. So it's kind of, it's sad, but also kind of easy to look at in a way, just to be a bit callous about it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mick and Judy, they also noticed that the cow's jowl, which is like the lower cheek, this had been also surgically removed. It was at this point they decided to go inspect all the other cattle carcasses that were dotted around their property to see just what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
We went back and looked at a lot of the other cattle that had died and found that they'd been operated on as well in all different ways, Mick said. So this is when they're kind of discovering that there's weird shit happening.
Yeah.
The main thing that really confused Mick and Judy was the level of surgical precision made on these animals to remove the key organs. One of the cattle also had a very strange hexagon shape, very clearly and precisely cut out of its skin, out of the hide, with no tearing or no blood to be found anywhere near it. Mick said, "It's as if the vein had been sealed when it's been cut. There's no blood on the hide, no blood on anything, and I don't know anybody that's been able to remove a cow's udder without blood everywhere." And not
It's
only
not possible.
it's not possible. I don't know if like cow boobies are the same as human boobies, but as someone who has human boobies and is breastfeeding,
Just cut a tiny bit into it.
oh
and then
my
it's-
god, yeah, there's liquids everywhere.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he said also, and not only that, there's no struggle where the cow died or anything else. Mick also noted that there was no discernible footprints in the dirt around these animals, not even the animals' own footprints. There was just nothingness.
That's so weird.
Very
The
strange.
whole struggling thing's a really good point. Like,
Yep.
they just happily let this happen to it. Like,
Yeah.
didn't fight.
For sure. You would think if there was a struggle, you would notice
Yeah.
prints and markings and stuff, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
The wounds on some of the cattle were so exact that microscopic layers of translucent membrane were still intact behind a missing eye.
What?
Yes, which that is the part that really just kind of blows my brain, is like it's so exact that there's like layers of membrane just left untouched.
Oh.
So a severed tongue, a jowl. the excised penis of a prize bull, and even an entire cow's anus were removed with absolutely no apparent disturbance to the adjacent flesh.
Incredible.
Yes. You can see all the veins behind where it's been removed, Mick says. And you can see the blood in them. So there's obviously still blood in there.
Yeah. So it's been like cauterized as it's being cut.
As it's being cut, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's no blood actually on the wounds. He doubts even a skilled surgeon with a scalpel could make such precise cuts.
Yeah.
So it's so bizarre because some of these animals are having their entire blood taken out of them, and there's no drops anywhere, there's no mess. And then some of these animals, it's like the blood is in there, it's been cauterized almost, like you said, but there's no burn marks. With cauterization, you can kind of
it's just as weird. Like,
it's just as weird, but you can see that it's been burnt. It looks melted, but with this, it's like it's just been sealed shut. You know, it's really bizarre.
Ugh.
Yeah, so he is getting a bit confused by this point.
Feeling a bit unsafe on the property.
A little bit unsafe, yeah. So the Cooks eventually went public with what was happening with them after a news channel picked up their story. And after they did go public, more and more farmers came forward saying that they've also had animal mutilations on their properties too.
Yeah.
The Cooks explained in one interview that there's only one way in and out to their property, and to get there you have to pass their house that they live in, and there's no way that they would miss someone entering. If you've never been to like a truly rural property, it's hard to explain the level of isolation that you have there, and how it's pretty much just impossible to miss something like someone killing cattle on your property.
You hear when someone's coming down the road, like you see headlights
kilometers
in the
away.
Yeah, ages away. You know someone's in the area.
Oh my god, it is not
used
discreet.
To the noise. Yeah.
Even if you are on a huge property like these people are, like the Cooks, it's very hard to miss, you know, something like that. Yeah, and especially if someone's killing animals on your property and torturing them or surgically operating on them. The Cooks also explained that they have actually seen weird lights and floating orbs.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Above their cattle station as well. And these lights seem to coincide with finding dead animals that have been surgically injured the next day or very close to the same day.
Okay, that's soon, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there's weird shit. It's not just like, because the mutilations themselves are very strange, but then this is like just a whole new added level of strangeness, you know?
Yeah.
So an anonymous senior veterinary surgeon who has been in practice for decades decided to help the Cooks investigate these mutilations, as he has seen a countless number of strange animal mutilations extremely similar to the Cooks all around the Queensland area as well as other states. So he decided to start kind of looking into these reports.
Yep.
The vet claimed that there is no way these kinds of injuries could be due to a predator. There's no way. He has seen countless injured animals after predatory attacks during his career as a veterinary surgeon, a senior veterinary surgeon. So he's quite aware of what an attack would look like.
Yeah, unless the predator's like a fucking robot.
Oh,
like,
even then.
That's the only... Yeah, I mean, even so.
Yeah, there's no way. It's so obvious. Like, I've seen animals that have been, like, predated on, and it's so messy. It's not pretty. So he says, the vet says, these cuts are so precise that I strongly doubt even an experienced worker from the local abattoir could make wounds that are so exact. So, yeah, he explains that typically with predatory attacks, the flesh is torn and ripped with bite or claw marks. And there's usually a lot of blood along with it.
Yeah. They're hungry. They're ripping it all apart.
Oh, yeah, it's messy. It's so messy. With organs becoming like very damaged or even pulled out or sometimes eaten, depending on what that organ is. So it's, very different to a predatory attack. One of the weirdest wounds that the vet saw was a cow that had a huge and perfectly straight midline incision across its abdomen.
Oh.
There was one singular clean cut mark as if made with a scalpel. He investigated the injury and he discovered the dead animal's third stomach, the omasum, was missing.
So weirdly specific.
It gets even weirder.
Okay.
So the third stomach was missing because cows have 3 tummies. They've got three.
I did not know this.
Stomachs. Oh yeah, they've got 3
I'm
stomachs.
learning.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anything about cows
got
except for
3
you knock
bellies.
them over and they can't get back up.
Oh yeah, cow tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so mean. Oh fucking hell! I know people that used to go out cow tipping. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
I know some people too. Oh.
So anyway, so the third stomach was missing. Yet the prior rumen and reticulum stomachs were intact and undisturbed. So tummies number 1 and 2 were undisturbed.
Okay.
That just can't be done. To get to the omasum, you need to move the 2 other stomachs. And I cannot comprehend how that could be done without spilling their contents or leaving a huge amount of blood on the ground. There was none, the vet explained.
Ew. Oh, how the hell does that happen?
I don't know how any of this happens.
Oh my God.
So with this vet, with all the cases that he investigated, there were a few consistencies throughout most of the cases. Strange lights being seen just before or on the night of the mutilations. And in every single case, he was never able to actually find the cause of death on the animal, despite the animal having injuries. So these animals had surgical injuries, but that wouldn't have killed these animals, especially with such a little
Oh my God.
amount
Yeah, I
of
didn't even
blood
think
loss.
about that. Like, yeah, and they're dead. Like, but how?
But how are they dead? Yeah, I saw some investigators found. Some investigators theorized that there was like a blast of radiation that basically just like exploded their blood. But
wow.
I think there's been testing done for that theory, and there hasn't been any signs of radiation or anything like that.
Fuck. Yeah, that's... yeah, I don't even
Which
know
is
what
really...
else.
It's strange, isn't it? That you would think that you could... Yeah, that is such a huge contributing factor. It's like, you can't find a cause of death. That's weird.
Yeah.
So, also with all the cases he attended, every single cut of every animal was so precise that all the flesh had been excised right down to the periosteum, which is the clear, thin membrane that sits over the bone. That layer was always undisturbed, not with a single nick or tear.
Incredible. Okay.
He also said that at majority of the mutilations he's seen, there's been an overwhelming chemical odor that's almost like an acetone chemical smell. So let's look at some of the explanations given for animal mutilation. To this day, if you still go onto the FBI's website, animal mutilation is still under the status of unexplained mystery, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, it's an X-file.
It's an X-file, exactly.
Yeah.
There has been numerous FBI investigations into animal mutilation with really nothing coming to light at all. So I'll just go through some of the most prominent theories that we have so far. First up, there's human intervention, which would be like cult activity and just general human shittiness and cruelty with people torturing and killing animals, which unfortunately is a thing. But things just don't seem to quite line up with this theory. just considering the precision and the consistency of the injuries, such as the microscopic layer left on the bones and just the fact that the types of injuries always seem to be the same in every country across the world.
Yeah.
In America, there was an FBI force put together with over 100 agents.
Whoa.
Yeah, assigned to investigate animal mutilations, specifically to investigate possible human involvement in these mutilations. This was requested and essentially just demanded by 3 US state attorney generals. And the investigation really didn't find anything in regards to human involvement, and they didn't find any other answers either, other than human involvement side of things. Another theory is that government and military experiments are happening on these animals, which I briefly mentioned before.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't agree with this theory because I can't imagine the government or the military would leave these bodies just laying around for the public to speculate on what's happening.
Yeah.
But
seems too messy for them to do that.
It's messy. It's obvious. They're so secretive, especially if it's like experimentation. Like, why wouldn't you just...
They could make their own cows, like, you know, breed their own cows and,
Oh, my God. That's exactly what they could do and probably are doing. Yeah. I don't think this is what it is. But, yeah, there are people who think that the government is experimenting on these cow bodies to research emerging bovine diseases and the possibility of them being passed on to humans. But I just don't think that if this was like a covert military and government operation, they would be so obvious about it by just experimenting on the animals in these people's private properties, with just bodies laying about with really bizarre and inexplicable injuries, you know? There has been consistent reports of sightings of black helicopters on the date, or again, very close to the date of a cattle mutilation, which is quite sus. But I don't think this necessarily indicates military or government experiments. It may indicate something else, but I don't think it indicates experiments. The presence of these black helicopters was so prevalent in an area of America that it actually became just quite a bit of a problem for the locals there.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. And a group of farmers actually put together their own vigilante group to patrol their fields at night and would even shoot at the helicopters to shoo them away.
Oh, mad.
The government ended up having to televise an ad urging the farmers to please stop shooting at their helicopters.
Like, stop flying over my goddamn farm.
Exactly. Yeah. Got to be a balanced relationship here.
Yeah.
So the next theory is probably the most spoken about, which is UFOs and aliens. This isn't just because the cattle mutilation is so weird and such a mystery that people just straight away jump to the conclusion that it's aliens. It's also because strange lights and bright orbs are commonly reported to be seen near the mutilation sites. UFO sightings have coincided with mutilations as well as sightings of humanoid figures. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not uncommon to find weird imprints near the body, almost as if they are tripod marks being punched into the ground. So we still don't really actually know, as the public, what these mutilations are or what's happening. But they are happening all over the world, and in some places more than others as well. There was a police sheriff in Colorado who investigated over 10,000 instances of horse and cow mutilation, where all these animals were found dead or consistently missing organs, the cuts surgical, precise and circular, every animal completely drained of its blood. It's very strange that all these consistencies are what we're also seeing in Australia too. These similarities aren't just restricted to one country. Cattle mutilation is very almost a 90s phenomenon that kind of just fell by the wayside a little bit. It got a little bit forgotten, almost like it was just a temporary mystery that happened and then stopped happening, but it's still very much actually happening.
It's just no one really talks about it anymore.
It was just this thing that kind of came up in the public eye and almost became like a bit of a trope, I think. It's like, oh, cattle mutilations, and then you just forgot about it. But it's like for sure still happening. So that's my coverage of cattle mutilation.
That was so unexpected and so great.
Oh, how exciting. I'm glad that you wouldn't have expected something like that.
Not at all. I wouldn't have even thought of covering that topic. I don't know, like going so broad, but you did that really well.
Thank you.
It is so scary just to think of coming across something like that on your farm. I didn't know, like I knew it was, horses and cattle and sheep, but I didn't know it happened to like dogs and cats and stuff. Rabbits. That's fucking scarier because they're like
scary,
pets,
man. I know. And it also kind of shows that if this is something, say like extraterrestrial or paranormal, if they're able to be so good at killing and operating on these animals, like what the fuck can they do to us? I mean, it's almost like they're just showing off their powers,
It's so scary. I know. And like, I mean, it is so out there that if someone's looking at that for the first time, you'd have to think has to be aliens, because when you think of like aliens, it's like, look, it's something that's unexplained and we don't know what they're capable of.
Yep.
There's nothing else on this planet that we could think of that could do that. I mean, government conspiracies, but it doesn't make sense.
No.
Though. Like,
that's the thing, is that like this vet was like, we're seeing like surgically these surgical injuries on animals that I couldn't, like he was saying like, I'm a senior veterinary surgeon that's been working for decades on operating on animals, and I couldn't perform this level of like precision. So to imagine that there's people all around the world in many places, in many different countries, that are able to perform this level of precision on like a farm animal that probably isn't sedated. It's just not really feasible, you know? And it's all the similar type of injuries as well. So it's just really very strange.
Oh, I'm excited to see what pictures you're going to choose for this one.
They're all they're quite similar, but seeing the udder removed.
That's crazy.
It is. Yeah, it's very, very strange. And some of them, the ones that are quite jarring are the ones where on the animal's head, the skin and the flesh have been, so it's just skull.
Yeah, that's
it's just
fucked
skull.
up.
That's fucked up. Yeah, those ones are very, very jarring.
Ooh.
But I mean, because they're such clean injuries and there's no blood, it's not as gory as what you would imagine. It is quite sad.
Yeah, it's just sad, and like, how did they die as well? Like, were they in pain or not? It's just there's so much to think about. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a great mystery. Hell yeah. All right. Well, we've done a very good episode today.
I reckon this is going to be the new favourite episode.
I think so too. I think this is really fun.
Topics. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I think the next episode that comes out after this will be the Christmas one.
Christmas episode. Yeah, we've got a Christmas episode coming up. And then in the new year, early new year, we're going to have our listener episode. So if you are a person that has had a paranormal experience, a small one, a big one,
UFO experience. Yep. You've seen a yowie. You've seen some weird fucking little gnome running around the side of your car.
Seen a pukwudgie.
Middle of the night. You've seen a little pukwudgie.
Yeah. You've seen a squatch. Anything. You've seen a ghost. Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I've seen
Shadow
the Hat Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna feel like vomiting when I think of the Hat Man.
I know.
Oh god.
Yuck.
Yeah. Anything like that. Oh my god! I completely forgot to say I watched The Fourth Kind last night.
I'm so proud of you. You're so brave.
And it was actually really scary. I forced Dylan to watch it, and the end of the movie, he was like, that was so shit. And then he went to bed. And I was like, I'm gonna I'm gonna lose my shit. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, that is so. That's happened to me before with
is
my
so
boyfriend. It's like, oh, it's the scariest movie ever, and all he can do is just bitch the whole time. The whole
he
through
just
the whole
didn't-
movie.
I was like, this is the scene I was talking about that fucked me up.
The one with the face, like
the one of him floating in the
Floating,
bed, and
yeah.
then of her when she like stretches out and like fucking gets all weird. I was like, these two scenes fucked me up, and
Yeah,
he was like,
yeah.
oh my god,
yeah,
okay.
they're horrible. Oh, it's such
And
a
I'm
good
like,
movie though.
it was really good. Anyway,
We'll try and work out a way to make that our movie that we watch for
I know, I
our
gotta
viewing
figure
party.
that out.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Anyway, if you want to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at spookymountainpodcast@gmail.com. You can
Yep.
reach out to us through Instagram or Facebook.
We've got our website up and running as well. We've got all of our contact stuff on there. So
Yeah, go do that.
spookymountainpodcast.com. Everything's there.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
YouTube and go check out our Patreon if you want to do that. We've got some pretty cool content up there. That's it, Patreon exclusive. So yeah.
All our show notes are on there, which is pretty fun to read. And we've got a fun Discord group as well. So yeah, check it all out. And thanks for listening, guys. And we'll speak to you next week.
Speak to you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao. This episode of Spooky Mountain was created and recorded on land of the original custodians, the Gundungurra and Bidjigal people. We pay respects to the past, present, and emerging mob. My name is Jordi, and I'm a proud Gunya woman. Thank you for listening.